Are we live? It looks like we're live. It looks like we are good. Alrighty, that's lovely to see, lovely to hear. Now we're just gonna go ahead and wait on for a little bit. I think I got most of it all figured out and set up before we even jump into it. The only one I really want to kind of focus on today in terms of video and reactions is Tekking's Lineage Factor here one. Or Lineage Factor video here. As always, go over, follow all of the people that were like watching and going over their content. Follow them, like their videos, share their videos with people. Particularly if you want to talk about like, you know, the more in-depth things and like tangent off of the points that they make and things like that. But yeah, as always, the link for this video should be down in the description, and yeah, we're just gonna kind of hang out, react to this, talk about it a little bit from my understanding and background in science, biology, and you know, long-term fascination with genetics and lots and lots of research into all of those sort of natural phenomenon, understanding what the real world stuff like that is, and then yeah, hopefully we get to see kind of it be explored a little bit in One Piece, which would be crazy because yeah, I don't know, mad scientist slash like evil genetic engineer going crazy in mayhem has always been one of my favorite tropes to ever like kind of deal with and look at. So it's been very interesting to see the continued scientific themes grow throughout One Piece, and I'm very much enjoying the level of discussion that we can have. So I mean, I think we're just gonna kind of jump into the video here. If everything is all good, let me know, you know. And then after this video, I'll probably meander around a couple of different things. I may or may not go react to a couple other videos of some other creators. I'll drop their links and stuff obviously into the description and in chat and whatnot when I need to. But yeah, and then after that, we're just gonna be kind of cruising, and if we have more time kind of going from there, then we'll talk about Norse-Piece, and we'll talk about Elbaf, and some of the Nordic themes that could be explored, or some of the ties and things that we see. I think I'm also planning on at some point here soon starting up a regular stream where I pull up like the Norse mythos, right? And, you know, obviously all the different like research things like that that we have access to, and then have maybe a couple of like slides and whatnot to go through, and then I plan on potentially rereading the whole series with the lens of the Norse mythos kind of painted over it on the side, so we can kind of, as we're going, draw connections and maybe write out parallels and look at things in that way. Yeah, because obviously, you know, well, not obviously, but hopefully we'll be heading into Elbaf. I don't think Oda's just kind of teasing us. That would be a wild thing for him to do. But yeah, going into Elbaf has me super stoked for, in terms of Nordic connections and all kinds of the mythological references that we could potentially get. And for people who think that Oda doesn't do mythological references, what's Bajrangan? I mean, that's a real world thing, you know. Don't know what to say. But yeah, there's tons of things to go through today, and we're just gonna kind of have some fun and look at how things are going. Yeah, as always, you guys are welcome to chat. I'll be responding. I'm not one I'm not one to just like let the videos play, even though I'm kind of, dang, I feel bad for having it paused on this face teching. No, you know what? You're a handsome fella. No matter what face I pause it on, it's perfect. Squish banana, weenie, Sunday sauna. Alrighty, yeah. What we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and hit this full screen so we can see Tekking's beautiful visage. Man, I need to get it set up like that. Right now it's just wall, bed. It's sitting on my bed. I don't know if you guys know that. Is that like jank? Is there a taboo thing about that? Like, I spend a lot of time on my bed. Maybe that's not good. Ayo, pause. No, I'm cool. I'm cool. We don't say pause here in Philly. I'm not in Philly, but you know how it is. You know how it is. Yeah, I do spend a lot of time on my bed. Is there like, everybody's always got these like good streaming chairs or like good desk chairs or like a standing desk and whatnot. You're gonna tell Matt what I'm cool. I'm cool. I'm cool. Everybody's always got like, you know, these decent, nice setups. I just got like this little jank ass laptop on my bed, and then my TV over here, and then, you know, a little jank ass microphone. And we're just doing the best that we can. We're just doing the best that we can. Thank you for dropping by, Ronnie, man. It's been a while. How you? You're not in Philly. No, bro, we're all in Philly, and we don't say pause. Hey, man, I'm listening and working though. Can't interact. Nice to see you. Thanks for stopping by, Doron. Thank you. I mean, even just having like listening and watch time is great. Thanks, brother. Woo-hoo! But yeah, like I was saying, we're gonna go through and watch this lineage factor video of Tekkings, and I'm kind of give a little bit of perhaps a nuanced and educated take from someone, you know, who has an actual real world background in genetics, science, understanding the flow of evolution and biology and those types of things. And then we're gonna turn it and put a One Piece spin on it because that's my favorite fucking thing to do, and why wouldn't we, you know? As it is, I'm gonna get kick started with a little bit of a, if you know what I mean. You don't know what I mean? Oh, that's lovely. That's at the perfect height. You can't see it. Yeah, working though? What is the work, bro? What? That doesn't make any sense. Sorry, D-Clouds. I'm chilling, bro. It's almost 100% goosey. Waiting on it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All it takes is time, and even if you aren't ever 100% Ronnie, that's okay too, bro. Like, it's, you know, life is what you're doing right now, chugging along, breathing, feeling good, or, you know, conversely, the slumps and things like that give you the ability to appreciate all that stuff. Check general chat when y'all free. Started doing. No, I know. I saw. I've been popping in, and I've been trying to drop like a message here and there when I can, but obviously I got like a lot of stuff going on with trying to figure my own shit out. But I did see that you were doing some Ubers and getting some of that stuff figured out, and that you had gotten like all that figured out. And I'm real proud of you, brother, for pushing through all that, because I know it's really tough to get yourself out of those harder situations and out of those slumps. I know it's hard, so I'm proud of you. Damn, I just got paid. Uno momento. Asandasana. Alrighty. I am back to a normal level of cognizance in terms of making sound and being able to speak to you guys. Alright. I never know how loud I'm supposed to project my voice, because I don't, like, I'm watching, obviously, my audio levels, like, do all this, but it's got, like, the green bar, and then it has, like, the black bar, and I don't know what is, like, bad for peaking, and I also have, like, a pretty bassy voice, and I have a lot of gravel if I'm just, like, talking in kind of my more normal baritone, and I don't know how that comes across to you guys. I don't know if it sounds good or if it's not, fun kind of deal. um, if you do, I'm a little low still right now. Okay. The problem is like, I don't know, because the thing is like, I'll get animated and I'll start talking really loud, and then like, my microphone's gonna peak. And then also, like, I don't know, because I don't have a way to really filter out the audio. I don't really want you guys to have an echo from the TV, but I guess we're just gonna kind of have to see how that goes, you know? Alrighty, let's kinda get into it, lads. Sounds solid. What's up, Ninja? Why are you not a mod? That's crazy. How did I not do this? There you go, bro. There you go. Mod it up. What's up, yo? What's up? Again, like I said, we're about to go through this lineage factor video, and then, yo, what's up, bro? What's up? Dang, we got the whole crew showing up. Why are you not modded? I don't know what is the amount of moderators that is proper, so I think all of my friends, I'm just gonna make mods. Don't abuse it. What's up, Tyante? How you doing, buddy? Always rock teching. Yeah, I know. I'm about to dive super hard into this. This man is always spitting. I'm super down for this. This man put out a lineage factor video before I got around to it, before I could even, like, present, like, oh yeah, I'm just so excited about this, bro. I love seeing people who have like similar trains of thought, but being able to like bring their own backgrounds and takes on it and stuff like that. Yes, sir, because you just showed up. Alright. Yes, sir. We got the whole squad in here. Let's go. Alright. Let me know if the audio levels for him are good. Of course it goes immediately into an ad. But that's how it goes. Let me know if there's like an echo or if it's picking up the background. Because I don't want you guys to be able to really hear like the
story arc, and I'm not really sure if I could properly articulate it, and I'm not sure if I have like enough knowledge for it. Yeah, this happens every now and then in One Piece where I'll notice something and I'll just be thinking, wow, Oda is going
Okay, wait a minute. I'm gonna rewind that back just a second because I feel like I missed something that he said. Ronnie sent out the assemble when he did. That's dope. Aw, thank you, Ronnie. Thank you guys for pulling up. I really appreciate all the support. We're about to dive into it. And if you guys see smoke or green things producing fun herb times, don't worry about it. Alright. Just here to support. Hey, you guys are dogs, bro, all of you. And by dogs, I mean spell it backwards. Dogs.
Alright, hello everybody. Tekking and Barry back again.
Tekking and Barry specifically.
There's an aspect to Egghead Island that I have noticed.
You're loading now? Loading what? Better not be any illicit substances. Yes sir, yes sir. I'm about to do it right now. That's on this on a squash banana. I don't know why, bro. Rafiki's song from fucking Lion King is literally stuck in my head 24/7. When he's jumping in the tree, like bending the branch. Yeah, it's not devil's lettuce, man. It's the burning bush, literally given by God to let us speak to him, as it were, if you're a religious fellow that way. I'm not, but, you know, supposedly. I love Rafiki, bro. Dude. He's the best. Like, okay. If you want to think about my personality as Rafiki plus Dory from Finding Nemo plus Stitch. That's my entire personality. It's just fucking Alright.
Throughout the entire story arc. And I'm not really sure if I could properly articulate it, and I'm not sure if I have, like, enough knowledge for it. Yeah, this happens every now and then in One Piece.
It doesn't matter. It's in the past. Also, Tekking, you don't need any level of expertise to talk about the things that you're interested in, man. And you don't have to state that as a qualifier that you're not good enough. Like you don't have a good enough background in order to provide decent thoughts, man. You don't have to include those anxious thoughts, you know?
Where I'll notice something and I'll just be thinking, wow, Oda is going way over my head with this. You know, Oda is so deep and complicated with this idea that he's trying to extend to the audience.
Man, the idea of evolution and epigenetics ain't that complicated or convoluted, Tekking. It's just that it's not. Oh Jesus! It's just that it's not widely conveyed. You know what I mean? Oh God, it's hot. I have to take this off. All right. Breath. Hey, shh. It's just like our VCs. You're silly, bro. I love those VCs. We love kicking. Yeah, I would if I could, man. Here. Yeah, I'm fine. It's got a little bit of a cough anyways. Don't worry about it, Tayante.
Audience that I could not possibly talk about it. You know, I'm really gonna miss the mark, so maybe somebody else should discuss it that knows more about, I don't know,
Okay, this is what I was saying, that I love the fact that he made a video about this, even though he may not be an expert in it, and I am. I love that he made a video about this because I get to see his take, the take that may not be able to fully understand all of the like laid out things about it, you know. And no, man, it just listen, like being able to ask questions and to put forth ideas is important even if you're wrong or uneducated, right? It's the no question is a stupid question type of thing. And if you fully believe that there are such things as stupid questions, you're wrong. There's no such thing as a stupid question, because worldviews can differ so much that something that could be considered fundamental is like entirely new. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know not to eat a poisoned apple if you've never seen an apple before. You know what I mean? Exactly. You always question the fundaments. Curiosity is a human emotion, and it's one of our important ones.
Things and stuff. You know, anybody out there that went to college with a master's degree in stuff?
No master's degree, not even a bachelor's right now. This guy, I don't have a bachelor's. I've just spent my whole life researching and looking into this type of stuff because I'm interested in it. You don't have to have a formalized education in order to know things, ask questions, learn things, and become an expert in it. True, it's good to have sources and to potentially have that piece of paper called a diploma to back it up. But it's also like, if you really care about the diploma and put an emphasis on that piece of paper, then you don't really understand what learning is or what understanding the topic is. I feel like I'm just throwing out a lot of qualifiers right now, and it's only been 51 seconds, but I love I love your I'm trying to reassure you, teching. Like, I'm telling you that you're perfectly okay to venture wild, hazardous guesses that are completely malhazardous and disinformationist, as long as you're like, hey man, I don't know, like let's figure this out, you know.
Ology. Please let me know, because that's a very useful degree. Okay?
At me.
Not as useful as the stuff in thingology. You know, there's thingology and there's stuffology. But if you know this stuff or these things, let me know, please. Okay. So here's the ask.
I do know those stuff and things. So thank you. I'm about to listen to your question here in a second. Exactly. Always disclaimer. The thing is you don't need to have this huge disclaimer. Just be like, hey, I don't know, and I'm asking. And that's it. Like, those 5 words. I don't know, I'm asking. Those 5 words are the most important things, and that's all you need to say. It declares your ignorance of the subject and your willingness to correct any false, like, ideologies or conceptions you might have. But it also conveys curiosity and, like, willingness to be perceived as, like, not knowing, uneducated about the subject. Sorry, I'm just sending money real quick. Yeah, open to learning. That's exactly what it is. You know, I'm just trying to reassure him, you know. I've been in the mode right now of trying to reassure people because of, you know, I hear a lot of the ways people talk about themselves and how they talk about themselves. You know what I mean? Or how they approach a situation that they feel that they're uncomfortable about. Why is this on? I did not turn you on. I just blinded myself with my flashlight. Alright.
Aspect of it that I've noticed. I'm sure plenty of you have noticed it as well, all right? maybe I'm overcomplicating this too. Maybe it's a lot simpler than I'm making it out to be. But
Probably
here it is.
is.
Okay. When the Straw Hats were not even on Egghead yet, when they were just approaching the island, when they entered the climate area around Egghead,
Yeah.
and the giant mechanical sea shark came out
Yeah,
and tried to
sea
attack
beast.
the Sunny, and then all the other sea beasts attacked as well.
Mm-hmm.
There was a line that Lilith had when she finally showed up in Vega Force 1 that was like, no matter how hard we try when building these mechanized sea beasts, they will always have some inherent primal instinct inside of them.
Yes.
So they took like an actual shark, like a huge Grand Line shark. I don't know if the shark was dead and they found it and they turned it like, we can rebuild the shark. It's time for Shark Week. You know, like if they did something like that, or if it was like a shark that they just grabbed out of the water and then they just like started attaching, you know, cybernetics to it. I'm not sure the story on the shark, but the idea was that Vegapunk is the greatest scientist in the entire world. I mean, this guy can live.
All you got to do is just like look into the military attempts to like have dolphins be like bomb planting squads. You know, the Navy has spent, I think, a lot of money on trying to like train SEALs and things like actual animal SEALs to like work with them and like mark out mines, mark out like submarine locations, all kinds of things. But they're animals, yes.
Robots and split his consciousness, and he created the internet. Right? Okay.
What's up, Terribly?
Despite all of his genius,
Terribly.
There's a little hiccup that
TJ. Ignore haters, including yourself. Exactly. You do like. There's a certain point at which a lot of people are carrying the things that their parents said to them, even though their parents aren't saying it to them anymore. They're saying it to them, right? They're walking through their house, they're walking through their hallways and hearing those echoes in their heads about things that aren't being said to them anymore, but they're carrying and they're holding on because they're saying it to themselves in the way that they speak about the world, in the way that they perceive the world, you know?
Always happens when they're trying to build these mechanized sea beasts, and they can never truly get rid of that natural instinct. So, like,
life is life. A wild animal will always be a wild animal. You can tame it, but it'll still be a wild animal, right? You can put a lion and a wolf in the circus. You can put any animal anywhere, but that doesn't mean like what's the saying? You can take an animal out of the wild, but you can't take the wild out of the animal. Yeah, I just read that phrase on a bag today. Inspirational sayings on it. It's a good one, you know. But yeah, you can take the animal out of the wild, but you can't take the wild out of the animal. And what that means is you can't remove the layer of unpredictability in another living creature's life, right? Like, you cannot fundamentally control all aspects about them because there's something about them that will bring them to freedom in some way, shape, or form. AKA what we're seeing with the One Piece world.
Sees food, or like when a shark smells blood, or anything like that.
True.
No amount of cybernetics and computer wiring like could cause it to be like, I will ignore that. No,
True.
It's just like food, and then it like attacks.
Yeah.
Okay? Which is fascinating to me because you think, and Vegapunk might have actually even done this, just remove the entire brain.
Yeah.
Right? Like at some point, Vegapunk might.
So right now he's talking about inherent instincts is what the chapter title is for the video. What's up, Brandon? Welcome. So he's talking about the struggle with removing the inherent will from the creatures, right? Like Vegapunk's struggle with that, seemingly. I don't know where he's taking this point yet, but yes,
might just be like, oh, okay. Well, no matter
exactly.
What we do to
Fish
the
are
brain,
friends, not
just,
food. Oh, that smells
after
good.
Their natural instincts. Okay, screw it, scrap the brain, and it just like takes out the.
Yeah. So I wanna posit this just for all of you who aren't aware. The brain is a relatively recent evolution. When you get down into some of the more furthest like things that have diverted from the branch of life that we're on, right? when you get away from vertebrae, when you get away from, can't think of the word, I'm just going to let it go. But when you get further and further away, you lose the conglomeration of nerve tissue and synapses that we would dub a brain, and you start getting more to these sort of disparate systems, like a limbic system that's set up for things to kick in autonomically. You know, like an octopus okay, so there's the myth that an octopus has 3 hearts, right? And this is mostly promulgated by like Vhall and things like that in his theory videos. Octopi don't have like 3 hearts, 3 brains. They like a lot of their systems are diffused throughout their body, and they actually have like a small brain in each of their arms, and those brains are only built to react to certain things, such as the suckers being brushed up against to autonomically contract the arm. Like it's very distinctly separate from a lot of the actions of what you would presume to be sort of innate in decision making or choosing what to do or what not to do, right? Like the activation of those instincts, reflexes, as they would be, are diffused throughout most of the... Yes. Cooked food allowed our brains to advance. Learn that from TikTok. Yes, 3 brains for sure. Yeah, so the cooked food specifically is about the denaturing of the process, and it's actually like cooking our food is technically the first stage of our digestion, and that's what made a huge difference in our ability to have access to nutrients and nutrition going forward. And yes, that is what probably primarily impacted our brain development over time as a species. But yeah, the sort of the thought that the brain is the control system for the whole body and the creature is not true. It's not, and it's just something that comes about because of the emphasis of your brain in our particularly evolutionary niche. The thing is you don't need a brain, right? All you need is like a thing to sense that there's light, and then have it spam all of the musculars to contract and move you into darkness, you know? Gorillas need to graze 8 hours a day just to get what they need. Yeah, I mean, you need a continuous amount of food, and the reason why gorillas and great apes and things like that are so much bigger is because the fermentation of the food that they eat, right, requires literally having larger amounts of heat built up on the inside, letting the fermentation take process and break down in their secondary guts and things like that. Like the process of cooking our food is really important, but the absence of a brain does not mean that they can't do things, they can't like react to stimuli. In fact, it's the opposite. A brain like ours evolved in essence because we continuously exposed ourselves to certain stimuli and had to evolve the ability to localize and conglomerate and then connect all this information in order to form different abilities to plan and make different things, like seeing the situation you're in and then analyzing the different ways you can get out of it and choosing which one is the best for you. That's what a brain is important for. What a brain is not necessary for is autonomic responses, breathing, eating, sleeping, pooping, all of that stuff. You know what I mean?
Entire brain, replaces it with a robot brain, and then pops it in there, and the shark is still going after the animals. Like, that would be weird, okay?
Nope, it would not be that weird, as I just explained, right? And that's because the sharks' mouths are evolved in order to contract harder when there's blood in their mouth, right? Because of the ion channels and the difference in saltiness and salinity, right? Their gills are way more sensitive to particular chemical substances. Like, everything about a creature is designed in order to perceive and access the world in the specific way that that creature is. And it's funny because we want to consider all life as this like perfectly evolved phenomena that has reached the fittest in their perspective, but that's not what it is at all. What it is rather is a random conglomeration of things that were successful feeding into each other to reach something that kind of works in a way that maybe could potentially make something else that kind of works later. Yeah, jellyfish don't have a brain at all. In fact, their pneumatocysts fire off of ion channels and things like that. And the pneumatocysts are what sting you. They have little itty bitty billions of sacs with hypodermic spears that are like vacuum pressure sealed to go off at just the slightest brush, because ion channels has nothing to do with muscular contraction, has nothing to do with neuron or even like nerve activation.
That happened.
Yeah?
Can I borrow your ball?
Nope.
Huh?
Nope.
Gotcha.
Punk would be scratching his head like, okay, gee shucks, I really have no idea what's going on with this Quasar. A lot of people have brought up that, Tekking, why do you always use
Very
the Quasar
plant-like.
with Vegapunk
Yeah.
when you're voicing him? He's only said that like one time. That's not his catchphrase. It's a trigger line, basically, so I can get in his voice like, oh boy, Quasar, hey everybody.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Buddy, I'm Vegapunk. Trying to be sounding distinct enough for Orochi, you know, because Orochi, he is down here.
I miss the Quasar.
And I am
Yeah, me too.
Vegapunk, not Orochi. So it's a very distinct, it's a fine line I walk with those two voices. Okay?
Yeah, it is a fine line. It's just because
that's the situation with the sea monsters, okay? But then, even recently, we just had another one of these things with the Seraphim. So then the Seraphim were introduced, right? And
I lost my mind at this one.
We were shown that, like, despite the fact that these things are made out of Lunarian DNA, Warlord DNA, cybernetics, because they're still able to fire lasers and everything like that, so there is some cyberware inside of the Seraphim and all that stuff. They have green blood running through their veins, so they don't have normal blood. It's just, you know, a distilled down version of, like, paramecia devil fruit abilities rendered into a fluid that's just pumping through them. They have all this stuff going on with them. But despite all of that...
I think... Okay, hold on. I think the green blood is... I don't need to get into that. I think the green blood is actually, literally, their DNA copied. Her love transferred, and the reason I think that, Nasty, is I'm gonna push back on this a little bit. Is headcanon, believe that large-scale personality changes or characterial developments impact your lineage factor. And the reason I believe that is because Boho's kind of a horrible person. She is not not a great person. The only person that she interacts with and has anything of this sort of personality differential and understanding of like how to treat people is when Luffy literally breaks down her understanding of what men can be like. Luffy shattered her worldview, and she didn't exist in a world where she had the personality to feel those things for a man until Luffy. And I think that's particularly important, and that's why it's being expressed through as Snake. Okay, that's interesting. It was taken at Marineford after she had interacted with Luffy. Yes, our sister has a nasty personality. Yeah, she like, the world had corrupted her and led her to believe that all people were going to be like X. Okay. Luffy diametrically changed and shattered her worldview so as such to break her free from her self-confined shackles, to understand that there was more about the world and more spiritual like fulfillment for her to gain. Yeah, it literally, like, he conquered her spirit and showed her that there was more. He unlocked her potential. He gave her the ability to move past the self-imposed restrictions that she had of her internalized beliefs because of the traumas and things that she had been forced through. I think it's fundamentally important that we pay attention to the fact that abilities are often transferred or connected through these highly emotional characterial changes. These big world-altering, personality-altering things. You know what I mean?
No, they still do retain not just muscle memory, because like the Seraphim Mihawk, S-Hawk, is able to swing a sword. Not just any sword, a sword that looks remarkably like Yoru.
Yes. So, again, I think... Okay, so we see a continuous connection between lineage factor and the powers that you wield, okay? We also see a continuous connection between the powers that you wield and the emotions and things that you have and go through, okay? What is the law of transitive properties for math? If A is equal to B and B is equal to C, then A is equal to C, correct? So the emotional and personal changes and things like that that you go through in your life impact what? Your lineage factor. And this is important because lineage is less about who you're, like, who the people you're related to are, and more about as defined by who they were in the world, right? Your lineage is, oh, I have the lineage of kings, right? I am related to like William Wallace or like King Richard the Lionheart, you know. You trace those back to specific people with specific intense worldly personalities that projected some sort of effect onto the world, right? I think this is probably incredibly important in understanding the fundamentals for how One Piece works. Also, in the real world, there's something called epigenetics, and this occurs during massively traumatic situations in which your human body makes changes to your DNA based off of what your body is responding to. So let's say you go through a horrible accident, and for the rest of your life your body is producing 5 times the amount of cortisol. Okay? That would drastically affect the amount of different genes that have to be expressed / produced because of the increase of the hormone that's available, right? Now what happens is, in this case, you could have this long-term change that affects most of your body, and what happens is less that like your base DNA changes and more like your base DNA gets certain aspects of it covered up and other aspects of it uncovered in order for you to survive the best that you can in this situation, right? It's sort of like a unlocking and changing yourself in order to be able to more properly adapt and like operate on this fundamental level. And that can shift into your gametes and then your later offspring, as shown by the increased trauma markers that you can see in like the Jewish communities and things like that due to the Holocaust and horrible things that happened to them, you know. This is very real world stuff that can be transferred and brought very clearly into the One Piece world.
I'm not really sure what the sword that little Mihawk wields. I don't know if that was... I'm sure it's something that's made out of a pretty good type of steel.
It's made out of Wappo metal.
One of the satellites made for him. All right, so probably obviously not a Saijo Awazumono on the level of on the level of Mihawk, but I'm sure they took some really strong metal like titanium or something. I don't know if titanium sword would be a good idea. I don't know, but
It would
they
not.
took some
It would
kind
be
of,
very brittle and
hard
would
metal
shatter.
that would work for a sword, and they made a miniature version of Yoru.
Yeah, it's
for
Wapo
S-Hawk,
metal,
and
probably.
S-Hawk wields it expertly. Okay. In fact, I'm going to assume, we don't know this for certain, but I'm going to assume it's one of those things because S-Shark is able to use Fishman Karate,
Yep.
and we saw S-Snake that
Yes,
is like
yes,
blushing.
Exactly, the karate techniques were transferred. You hit on this, and then Tekken hit on it just now. Yep, exactly.
When she's around Luffy, and even depetrified everybody because of that. S-Bear, we haven't seen much of S-Bear, but S-Bear might...
Also, what is one of the things that Luffy made Boa do? Literally. Like, what is one of the things that made her actively change who she was? Oh, he made her unpetrify people? Okay. Yeah.
But, well, we know that S-Bear was malfunctioning, which was the reason that he was even being brought back to Egghead to begin with.
Well,
so there might be something
at least
there with S-Bear
we don't know.
and having Kuma...
We don't know about malfunctioning, but they'd say he's a problem child.
Memories, and then with
Whatever the
Bonnie
fuck
and
that
everything
means.
there, that might line up. And then with S-Hawk, I'm sure, like, as soon as S-Hawk walked out of the tank, picked up a sword, maybe not even a sword around him, but maybe, like, he walked out of the
Bro
tank,
just got a grab.
and there was, like, a pipe
He grabbed
or
a butter
something
knife.
vaguely in the shape of Yoru, and S-Hawk was, like, immediately, like... you know, like, and then Vegapunk and
Yeah, I agree.
Satellites are like, okay, I think he likes to use a sword. All right, Quasar, I'll get to work on that. You know, so it's obviously like beyond just muscle memory with these Seraphim. It's obvious that like parts of the original Warlord personalities and memories.
Not memories. Not memories. I want to be distinctly clear. Not memories.
Their various traits are now inside of the Seraphim, okay? So, this is the part where I'm, like, trying to connect the dots on this. I can't help but think Oda is trying to set this up like a hint at something bigger, like maybe what the One Piece is, or something about the...
That's exactly what it is. The ability... Here, wait. The ability and understanding that what you go through in your life can give you powers, can affect your lineage, like your children, the spawn that you create, and the people around you that can inherit your will. Those are all... I forgot where I was going with this. Let me rewind it back and touch back on what I was thinking.
Thing bigger, like maybe...
Oh yes, the reveal and understanding of that particular knowledge to anyone. A breeding program, right? I mean, as fucked up as it is, and as much as we all don't want to really play with that, it's still a common theory that is thrown out there with things like God Valley, or you know, in recent talks with Kuma, right? Seeing him as a child, and the potential for, breeding down or into, like, and hopefully trying to create something that has the specific powers that you would like, you know, through manipulating the world and the world that does exist. And that might be what Imu's trying to do, is trying to create a specific power from letting people have to deal with the world that they created, type of thing, if all of that makes sense.
Maybe what the One Piece is, or something about the world, some big revelation that we haven't discovered yet, something along the lines of, like, maybe involving the Ancient Kingdom, the ancient weapons, something with, like, the fact that the lineage factor exists, because Oda's doing this really cool thing with, like, kind of like ancient magic, like with devil fruits, and then science, which then you discover that science.
Okay, hold on. Well, because let's make a couple delineations here. Not necessarily ancient magic. Devil fruits are modern. They exist now, right? And presumably modern One Piece people's dreams can still come to fruition as a devil fruit, without having there be this sort of tie to the ancient kingdom and how they understood or made the world work. I really don't want the devil fruits to be a technological creation from the ancient kingdom. Yes, yeah. So, it doesn't. Okay, let me touch on this for a second, Nasty, because I think I tried to convey this earlier, and I may not have done this as well as I could. Right. So you say everything we do and encounter / experience actually makes changes to our genomes. Let's pause there for a second. No, it does not. But what it does do is change how that genome is expressed. Okay, so let me give you an example. You have a billion base pairs, let's say, and let's say only 500 million of those base pairs are active at any given time. You can mix and match which of those 500 million are active at any given time, but that's not necessarily changing the genome, right? Like, some of those will be expressed in certain ways, but like, if you say if one person with this genome went through everything that someone else with this exact genome went through, they would probably have most, if not all, of the exact same genes being expressed. The difference is like what you're saying, and what most common people believe, is that if a gene is expressed, that's the one that you have, which is not true. What you have is a multitude of billions of different types and varieties of ways that you could express this particular gene. And it just so happens to be that this is the one that you started with, and then from there, this is the one that the world gave you. Yes, I know. I mean, you're doing great. Like, most of what you said is just exactly, like, it's just a small difference, right? Is most people perceive your genome to be what is expressed. That's not true. Your genome is everything that you are, and what is expressed is only a very small portion of that. And that's why you can look different over the course of your life when you're encountering different chemicals, doing different drugs, taking different medicines. Like, all of these different things can fundamentally change how you look, because it changes the genes that you have to express. But it doesn't actually change your, like, fundamental genome, although that does change over time because of cancer and breakdown and mutations and things like that. But all of that being said, again, you have this is the whole picture, and then you get like a jigsaw of this picture, and that is who you are. That is what is presented to the world. But most people want to take the pieces of the jigsaw that are expressed and say that that's the whole picture. That's not how it works. My opinion, her DNA was taken at Impel Down. I'd let the reason why I think that all of the warlords had their DNA taken at Marineford is because that's where they were all gathered up before even like the announcement of the execution of Ace. Like, they were all gathered up there for a specific reason. And who do we see there is Lafitte, and what is he probably doing? Oh, I don't know. But also, I just want to bring up, Impel Down would still be after the point in time in which Luffy has interacted with Boa and changed her personality, thus impacting her lineage factor. Thus, that is what then gets transferred onto the snake.
Science is actually rediscovering the former science of the world that the ancient kingdom had. It wasn't necessarily that devil fruits were mystical, magical, created by, some kind of sea god. In fact, Vegapunk specifically said that devil fruits were the bane of Mother Ocean.
I don't want that to be true. And the reason I don't want that to be true is because I don't think that devil fruits are artificial. Also, gods and the ambition of man have always been at odds mythologically. And so what I want to say is the dreams of humankind and mortals are always going to be despised by those who consider themselves the natural creators of the world, right? And that's, I think, what the point is with the, like, furthest realms of evolution and different dimensions type thing, is like they're so far beyond what the capacity of the gods that created the world want or perceive that they really don't like it, and as such they deem it evil. But I really don't want them to be ancient technology, and I would rather that be something else entirely.
Or Mother Nature. So the devil fruits, honestly, I'm thinking were probably made through some kind of science experiment like well over
I
1,000
disagree.
years ago, even before the Void Century. Back
Yeah.
when science was on this crazy level where they could make their iron giants and they had like nuclear fusion and all that kind
Perhaps,
of stuff.
but I
That's
still...
when the devil fruits were created.
Okay, I just want to... I mean, there's a fundamental difference between a big, giant mech that can, like, run around and potentially run out of battery and a, like, seemingly nigh endless amount of energy that can be tapped into forever and ever, fueling a particular ability that is not tied to any particular life form, right? Like, that is a very different level of science, and that's why I think Oda is trying to play with the idea of, like, sufficiently advanced science is indistinguishable from magic. But the difference is I think Vegapunk is going to be the one with the sufficiently advanced science, and the indistinguishable from magic is going to be the devil fruits, right? Like science is going to be able to do what devil fruit users can do, is I think what that is going to lead to, you know? Exactly, he is wild for that comment, bro.
Okay, so you could say devil fruits are created via, science or something like that. But there is also some magical qualities to them, like, because, dude, it might be a situation, and this is where it gets, like, just scatterbrained, okay? But it might be a situation, really, where you do have actual gods in the One Piece world.
Yes.
It's kind of already been confirmed.
Again, yes. Okay, I swear to God, I feel like Tekking is literally about to run down the train of thought that I just had. I swear to God, I did not pre-watch this video. I swear to God.
We have the sun god, Nika, but we also have the nature goddess, Mother Ocean, okay?
Yeah.
So it might be a thing where Mother Ocean is the legitimate god of the One Piece world.
Yes.
She's, like, created the entire planet and put the continents everywhere and has the ocean, and she's just like, oh my goodness,
Yes.
look at this beautiful planet that I have forged. Oh,
Yes.
and now there's humans walking on it. Oh, isn't that lovely?
Yes.
And then eventually the ancient kingdom popped up and they started creating robots and everything and, like, air conditioning, challenging her domain.
Okay.
She's like,
Okay. I was up with you until there. Let's run with the same hypothetical. She created this perfect world. It's beautiful, miraculous. Humans come along. She loves them. Their creativity is gorgeous. Oh my God! Look at the science that they're doing, and all these things. Like, oh, such, like, a wonderful exploitation of nature, and what it can be achieved through. And then devil fruits start appearing. Like, they just start happening because people's perceptions of reality start pulling her power away from her and turning it into these other things. Oh, and then her beautiful world is not beautiful anymore. Oh, these horrid, wants and dreams of these mortals are pulling apart and destroying this beautiful painting I have made. What is happening? Maybe. Or it could be like the thought train that you're about to go down, where we created the devil fruits as a form of science, and then that's how it developed into that. I just feel like that would be less fun. At least for me. For me, it would be less fun. But maybe that's because I've had these thoughts and things like that for a long time because of the Jesus, what is the word I'm thinking of? The exposure that I've had to the continuous fantasy genre, both Eastern and Western, since I was very, very young. So you're saying his will and desire, hockey, caused her to have a change of heart? Yes, 100%. Yes, who Luffy was literally changed who she was. And I'll tell you this, if I can just put it in the most real world terms as I possibly can. And this may be dark and a little brutal, but a child that was sex trafficked and like bred or raised up and continuously abused and put through all of these awful, awful things, grows up in a world that hates her, demonizes her, labels her a pirate, labels her an outlaw, wants to destroy her home island, wants to destroy this group of women that she wants to protect. This world wants to take everything away from her. Always. Let me put it to you like this. Her cortisol levels, her hormone levels are so far out of the normal for what a normal person would experience that the genes that she had the chance to express are completely different than what she has the chance to express after Luffy physically changes her understanding of how people can be. Luffy shows her that the world is not truly, fully out to get her and strip her of everything. He, in real world terms, gives her a safe space, pulls her out of her heightened traumatized state, pulls her out of the space where she has to protect everybody and everything, and puts her into a place where she feels comfortable, where she can change who she is and start to feel feelings and process emotions on a fundamental level that she never was able to have before. What does that do? Maybe it drastically changes the genes that you can express going forward in terms of lineage factor, right? Your cortisol levels drop. You start reinterpreting the world around you as less of an evil and horrid place and more of a fun, adventurous, potentially safe place that you can grant to other people and bring and have fun and life and joyous things with. Like, it gets really deep into it, you know? In dreams, we touch a realm and take it back with us. Dreams are where our wishes live. Yes, like, you have the realm of the gods, right? And if they're the ones who made everything the way it is, oh, we designed it, it's beautiful and perfect the way that it is, and we don't want it to be any different ever. And then you have humans who go, and they take off a small piece of that god, and they go, okay, well, now I'm going to change this thing in X, Y, and Z ways. You don't think that would piss the gods off? I think that would piss the gods off. I mean, we see that consistently throughout real-world mythologies.
What? Huh? Nature was fine just the way it was, humans. Why are you doing this? Why are you creating air conditioning? And what is that, a soda machine? I didn't
Perhaps.
What's going on here? You know, and she got really mad because the humans were then eventually
I could see these things.
Sin to her was, of course, the devil fruit itself. And just like, no. These things are not natural. I am pissed off royally.
That's their line. Okay? It's because it steps into the realms of godhood.
Overall message that Oda is trying to spin, at least one way you could look at it, right? So,
yes.
I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, okay, all right. I think the whole idea of a lineage factor, the way it works, the way in One Piece, different from like DNA in our world, is you got to account for the soul. Because the soul exists in One Piece. Like, it's basically scientifically confirmed to exist.
Yes, I agree, but I also I just want to say that up until like 100 years ago, people thought the soul was scientifically confirmed to exist. People thought that bad smells scientifically caused diseases and problems in the psyche. Like, just because something is scientifically confirmed to exist, that's not as hardline as you think it is. Because science is less about what is true and more about, like, less about what is true and more about how are we wrong. Yes, that is accurate. Science is less about finding out what is true and is more about finding out how we are wrong. Yep.
In the One Piece world. I mean, of course we have Brook, and Brook alone is enough to prove that, like, soul exists, right? Because he literally...
I don't know. Is he enough to prove that soul exists? I mean, can you objectively say that? He's enough to prove that something exists, that there's an energy that can be replicated, that it is at least exactly, if not a full encapsulation of you, then some aspect of that is fully retained and then converted into an energy that can be used, right? Like, this is the thing, is there's a scientific explanation for everything, because a scientific explanation is just a step-by-step connection of inferences that you believe to be true.
Really has the power to come back from the dead, and he told the Straw Hats the story, like, he remembers dying.
We saw his soul, right? Yeah, I mean, we can say that, but was it his soul? We don't know. It was something. You know, like, that's what we would probably attribute it to. But this is what I'm saying is, like, when you want to get really hardline, you have to really hammer down these definitions, right? Because if you don't hammer down these definitions, then everything starts getting really wonky. I feel like devil fruits were created by four swords, four concepts: earth, forest, rain, and the sun. But the most important thing was the sun god. Imagination is equal to devil fruits. Yeah, so I think probably you're correct. Your earth is your body, your forest is your soul, your rain / your water is probably like your shadow, and then false, brain. That was bad. Earth, body, forest, soul, rain, mind, sun, imagination, dreams, desire. I mean, there's way more aspects of the human psyche that can be broken down than that, but yeah, I mean, I don't think it'll ever get as hardline set like that. I don't think Oda's gonna give us like definitive. I feel like that would be not in his writing style.
Into a soul, and and then going up to heaven and getting kicked back down. It's just like, all right, you ate the Omi no this time? Okay, cool. And it just kicks him back down to the planet, and then looking for his body in the Florian Triangle for a whole year until finally finding the bag of bones that we know and love today, all right?
Yeah.
So the soul definitely 100% exists. But even beyond just Brook's account, his, like, one personal story about it, Vegapunk even said, like, there was a scientist, I think in the West Blue, that did this experiment where he confirmed that 21 grams is the weight of the soul. So that actually references an actual experiment. I think the guy's name was McDougall. This was back at the beginning of the 20th century and was very much pseudoscience and very much quackery.
No, it was science. It was science. That's the problem. It just is not true. Right? It was wrong. Any person can make something sound scientifically proven. All they need to do is get a study in a science magazine / journal and skew the words so what they sound. No, they don't even have to do that. This is what I'm saying. Like, science has been such, like, a misused word for so long, because science is just the, like, rationalization of this thing connects to this thing because this thing connects to this thing because this thing connects to this thing. It's just rationalizations connect together off of concepts. Like, it is all about trying to poke holes in what we understand so that way we can understand it better. Something cannot necessarily be scientifically proven. The point of science is to disprove things.
The dude basically just had a bunch of people on a scale. I think it was 6 people, and basically weighed them when they died. And there was one dude out of these 6.
Facts, Tosmore, the dreams. It is all a theory until proven. It's all theories. There is nothing proven. I need to make this clear to you guys. Science is about finding out what we think is wrong. It's about finding out the things that we cannot do, the things that do not make sense, the things that are broken. You can't fundamentally prove something. You know why? Because, what is a definitive, right? All you have is until it's broken, right? Until we find something that better explains it, until we find out that we're wrong. So it's not until proven, it's until we find out we're wrong. Keep that in mind because it's important. Science is a way of life, not a practice. It's not like a thing you do. It's not a subject you learn. It is literally about presuming that the world is not what you think it is and trying to find those limits and then trying to understand why those limits aren't actually real limits and rather things that can be played with.
That had a difference of weight of 21 grams, but the other bodies didn't have that, and also he didn't account for things like, sweats or other various bodily fluids that might account for the difference in weight. Most
also, scales back then were notoriously inaccurate.
Because it's okay, there's a lot of bias here, and there's a lot of your methodology for this does not make sense. It's not very repeatable.
Yes, it's not at all repeatable.
But it became a thing in popular culture for a while there. Discovered the soul, and it's 21 grams. There we go. There we have it. Right. So Oda
could you believe, bro?
Experiment as a basis in One Piece, and in One Piece, it's an actual thing. The soul is confirmed to exist because of Brook,
or at least an energy that is a complete and full mimicry of the soul. You can't say that it's the soul if you believe that devil fruits were artificially created and are science. And the reason is because they would not have been able to prove that it was a real soul, because that's not how science works. What they were able to do is make something that seems exactly like a soul, that you would think is a soul, and it has the energy of perhaps what we would think is a soul, but are we gods? Did we create the universe? No, we're fucking with things and trying to find out what our limits are. That's why I don't necessarily like the devil fruits are science, are technology. It makes much more sense to be no, they're a fundamental facet of how the world works, right? They're an expression of magical, conceptual, godly power that is conferred upon those who find them and eat them and or are tied to them or what have you, right? And that would mean that then it is provably Brook's soul, because the laws of the universe are outlined as such that a soul exists, and that is this fruit. Whereas if everything was created and then they made science, or they did science to the point where they could technologically reproduce something that would give you a soul-like thing, you still can't fully say that it's a soul. You know what I mean?
And I guess it just weighs 21 grams. So there you go. There you have it. Also, a little bit of a side note there. There's a little bit of a theory buzzing around that I really like, that the scientist or the doctor, the certain doctor that Vegapunk was talking about from the West
Hogback?
was Dr. Hogback. And
That's
I
a
like
good one.
that idea for a number of reasons. Number one,
it's a really good
West
one.
Blue, Thriller Bark, and possibly Hogback were from the West. And
Yeah.
if there's any doctor in the One Piece world that would be so unscrupulous as to like capture a bunch of people, tie
And
them
try
down
to
a
figure
table.
out if they had
He finds
souls.
a bunch of old people. He ties them down to a table, and he's just like, okay, so here's what's gonna happen. When you all die, I'm gonna.
That's a shit. That would be so hard to do. Like, what do? You tie them all. You can't starve them to death, because if you starve them to death, they're losing weight, and then your practice is flawed. That's hilarious. What if? Okay, like, what if it is pseudoscience? Like, what if the soul doesn't actually exist, but the reason. But the reason that it does, technically, is because someone made up the fact, like, they imagined that it existed, and then the devil fruit came about, and then the devil fruit made the soul energy a thing, and then it just, weird time play stuff. That was strange. Brain scatter. Sorry. ADHD.
Way you to prove the existence of the soul. I forget Hogback's laugh. He had a very distinct one. I want to say.
Yeah, he did.
Fossa. Wasn't that it? You know.
Foosh.
Right. If there was anybody in the One Piece world that would do that, it would be Dr. Hogback. Okay.
Yeah.
He had a lot of unscrupulous practices.
Unscrupulous. I love that word.
William is not a doctor, okay? But if he was, maybe, okay? So Hogback ran this experiment, and I think his conclusion was a little bit more like he wrote a whole paper about it, and Vegapunk read the paper, and he's like, yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. His methodology was flawless. I disagree with some of his methods, but hey, the end result, the soul exists, and it weighs 21 grams. Okay, great, fantastic.
Oof,
okay.
that's a tough one.
We could do something with that. We could also do some kind of weird, like, we are all one sort of deal.
I really
like
hate that one too.
So we're all together. We are all one. You know, we all come from this. All our souls all go to the same place when we're gone, or something like that. Something very metaphysical, as it were.
Does anyone else really hate the whole oneness thing? I hate it. I'm an individual. I've always been an individual. I hate the oneness thing. It bugs me.
I don't know about that. There's also an underlying theme in One Piece of cyborgs. Oda has pretty much thrown like every aspect of fiction, every trope into his story, and it's gone on for so long it doesn't seem ham-fisted at all.
Yeah.
It really seems like it makes sense.
Really,
like, you know,
executed perfectly, to be honest.
Cyborgs right away. It took a while for us to build up the cyborgs. And then later on in the story, oh, by the way, time travel also exists with the scabbards and Kinemon and everything.
But only towards the future.
By the time it was revealed that time travel exists, no one was looking at One Piece like, time travel in One Piece? Oda just ruined this whole story for me.
A couple of people were.
Now, no, he throws like everything in here, and it works.
A couple of people were that mad.
We can have this very anachronistic kind of world where there are pirates sailing around, like shiver me timbers, matey. And also we can have a fleet of robots firing lasers at everybody.
Excuse me.
All that makes sense, and it does make
sense. Yeah,
sense.
It makes plenty of sense because of technological suppression.
The Pacifista all originate from the Pika Pika no Mi, and the Pacifista forms themselves all go back to Kuma. Maybe Oda is trying to tell us something where like everything is interconnected.
No.
Everything
Fuck you.
is one.
Sorry, I did. That was aggressive.
Something like that. I don't know if that's the direction we're going there. Kuma's stuff still needs to be addressed because he did the whole thing where he rejected his memories.
Yeah.
Bonnie saw the memories.
Yeah.
So we still got to do something with that. Either Kuma himself, the PX-Zero's body returning, getting the memories back, or, what if they do, okay, I just had an idea. What if it's the situation where PX-Zero is pretty wrecked right now? I mean, it's climbing the red line. What if what Oda's trying to do here
PX-Zero
is if the PX-Zero gets completely destroyed, like Kuma's original body
like
that he
obliterated?
had is blown to bits by the Marines or the world government or whatever. And here's the thing.
I could see that.
Even if the PX-Zero manages to reach it all the way to Marijwa, climbs the whole red line, the God's Knights are there. That might be one of the first displays of their power. Like the PX-Zero finally reaches the top and it's all glitching out, and then it walks over and the God's Knights are just there. Maybe not all of them, maybe just one of them. Maybe Shanks' hot sister is there. Finally! And then
Shakes
she's
his
just
hot
like,
sister.
yeah, you can't come
That's
in here.
tough.
And then just dices PX0 into little like scrap metal pieces.
I'd be
It just
sad.
falls all over the place. So the PX0 is completely destroyed beyond repair.
Be really sad.
Okay? But you still have S-Bear. So what if it's a situation where Kuma's memories
I fully believe that S-Bear is going to become Kuma's new body.
go back into S-Bear, and then it's this weird thing where Bonnie is now older than her father?
No, she's not, because she can just reverse age.
Of the situation with how it works out with S-Bear being a clone Seraphim?
Bros, my volume, you can't really hear it. Are you sure? Because it says... Strange. Like, you can't hear the video, or you can't hear me? My volume is a little bit low. Like me? You guys can't hear me very well? You can hear now. Now it's good. But, okay, question. Is there like an echo when I am playing the video and not talking? Because I can't tell.
But like, okay, Dad, I have you back, I guess. Let's just leave and get away from all this pirate nonsense, all right? And then we can live and just, you know, you can grow up and be happy, and I guess. And
is there an echo for you guys? There's no echo?
Like, that might be a situation.
Okay.
They might leave. Oh, by the way, while I'm on the subject of that, something else to bring up really quick. This is a mistranslation thing, so I just want to address it. So there was, not last chapter, I think the one before that, when St. J. Garcia Saturn was talking about Bonnie when Doberman was giving the report of what's going on Egghead. He mentions that, like, Jory Bonnie is here, the daughter of Kuma. And then St. J. Garcia is like, ah, yes, well, she's not useful to us anymore. She's just a little girl. Leave her be.
Yeah.
That got a lot of people thinking, like, wait a second, is Bonnie actually a child?
Yeah.
No, that's not the case, and we know that because Bonnie mentioned being an egghead 20 years ago as an actual child.
Yeah.
Okay? Also, she's Kuma's daughter.
Yeah.
Kuma's only like in his 40s. Okay, so Bonnie is like in her mid to early 20s, I'd say.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, that's like Bonnie's actual age.
She'd be the oldest Straw Hat if she did join.
20-something years ago, before Egghead was even built up the way it is right now. Like back when it was just like Vegapunk has just acquired Egghead and has just begun his base of operations there.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think the actual translation is St. Che Garcia just calls her like, you know, just like, oh, she's just a girl, so who cares? Or she's just a brat.
Yeah, I think
of,
it's
like,
supposed to be
Doberman.
more of a
Doberman
dismissive
calls,
thing.
Like, he's like, oh, Law and Luffy, you're just a bunch of brats. You know, I'm an adult, okay, and I don't have time for your crap right now. You know, it's kind of like that. Also, St. J. Garcia Saturn is like really old. He's a member of the Garosei, so he would refer to like Luffy and all the Straw Hats really, except for Brook, I guess, and maybe Jinbei, as like brats and children. You know what I mean? I think it was more of an insult than literally calling Bonnie like a child. You know, it was just like, just a brat who cares about her.
I agree.
Not a concern. Let's just focus on
No
the
echo.
Straw
That's
Hats
good to hear.
Vegapunk
Good to hear.
right now. But yeah, who knows? Maybe that whole thing might happen with Kuma there. So, you know, what's going on there?
Damn.
Stussy and possibly Edward Weevil. Stussy is a clone of Miss Buckingham Stussy, and if that's
It's just him saying she's like an ant, like from the last chapter. She doesn't matter the grand scheme of things. That's good. Yeah, no, for sure. It's very much. I had interpreted it that it has that as like more of like a she's just some little girl, like she's just, you know, doesn't matter, like nobody gives a fuck about her type thing. And that's kind of what I had been saying in most of the chats and stuff when I was talking to people about it, when it was brought up that, you know, people were hoping she wasn't going to be, you know, a little girl. I didn't think it would go that way. I didn't know it was like a little bit of a mistranslation, but that's kind of how I had read it and thought about it. So.
That's the case. I'm assuming Weevil might be actually a clone of Whitebeard. He might be a botched clone of Whitebeard, exactly. But remember, Weevil.
Close the door.
I mean, if we're going along with the logic here, that clones retain personality and maybe ambition and like.
Well, hold on. Well, we don't know if failed clones retain personality and ambition and things like that. Right? So I would think that if you don't have the full lineage factor, meaning as in like you have some sort of flaw in it, you're not gonna get the full person's like personality, instincts. You might get facets of it, right? But not a lot of it. Damn. Arm is sore as fuck.
Morality, too, if we're gonna go along with the alignment chart from like D&D, you know, Weevil sees Whitebeard's home being attacked by these cruel marines and threatening the people. What does Weevil do? He charges right in, just like, you stay away.
That's true. He did kind of just beat the shit out of
It
them.
might just be a thing because he was
Just
conditioned
reflexively.
to think that, Whitebeard was his biological dad by Miss Bucky.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it feels like to me.
That activates some memory or something. Like, he is a botched clone.
I mean, it could be both. It doesn't have to be one or the other, but it probably is more the first one, if I had to guess,
And maybe he sees, Whitebeard's hometown being attacked, and that he has like a war flashback to when Whitebeard saw his island attacked by pirates when he was a little kid, and Weevil's...
If failed zones smile don't 100% change that person into an animal, it makes sense. Failed clones don't retain every single characteristic of the personality they're based on. That's why they're failed. Yeah, for sure. And on top of also not like looking like them and having like their full power set,
It's just like, you stay away from here, it's like something like that, okay? And
True.
That indicates a lot of stuff there. Oh yeah, Dofi being biologically evil, that's another thing too. Like, so
yeah, they cloned a celestial dragon. That's crazy.
Flamingo, who we know does exist now, just not on Egghead. Flamingo's out there in the world quelling certain rebellions.
Yeah.
When we cut back to that particular Seraphim,
bro, I hope he's at Empty Bluffs, and I hope there's a small clash, and I swear to God, if my theory comes true about Mihawk and Crocodile having their shadows stolen by S-Gecko and given to S Flamingo and I can't what S-Croc. I was like really struggling with that one for a second.
I think it was actually mentioned that some of the islands that were rebelling, the rebellions didn't work. They actually were put down. We could cut back to see S Flamingo just strangling a bunch of people with his string powers, and then everybody's on the ground, and S Flamingo's just laughing maniacally like Dofi was. Okay, so Oda seems to definitely be going with the idea of nature over nurture here, like.
I don't think so. I think he's going with nature and nurture. But I think he also is wanting to encapsulate the full picture, which is that nurture is a part of nature, and nature is also a part of nurture. Like, a part of your nature is arisen from the fact that you were nurtured in a certain way and had the world constructed around you in a certain way. And then a part of your nurturing comes from the fact that you would like to change the nature of the world around you. Like, the way that you treat people, the way you talk to people, all those things. Like, if you're not trying to change the way that you were treated or talked to or like heard or this or that or the other, then I don't think you're necessarily on the right path. But nature and nurture are so, we always have it split into this like dichotomy, and it's so bad because it's a dichotomy and nobody fucking, like, I don't think nature gives a crap whether it's divided into 5, 9, 7, 12, however many divisions you want to make into it and try and categorize it. Nature works how it works, and it doesn't really have duplicitous meaning, right? Everything we assign to it, we assign to it, and we make up about it. So the whole nature and nurture thing, if Oda is playing with that, he's doing it in the way that your nature is consisted of the constructed world that nurtured you, and your nurturing is constructed of the nature that you would like to bring into the world.
You know, Boa Hancock right now, this is a great example, is in love with Luffy. So her Seraphim also has a crush on Luffy. Alright, so like that kind of stuff can be transferred via DNA in the lineage factor, alright? If that's the reality that we're going with here, with the Seraphim and with clones in general in One Piece.
Yeah, that's where we're going.
Yeah, Doflamingo's, you know, evil nature is just going to immediately carry over to S Flamingo.
Yeah. I don't think it's specifically Dofi's evil nature. I think it's specifically the celestial dragon's evil nature. And I think the fact that we see these consistent exploitations of evilness being passed down, and then someone being good, and then the one after them having to pay for that by the evil people's deeds is important. Right? Crabs in a bucket. Evil people hurt people. Hurt people hurt people, but evil people hurt and make hurt people. If that makes sense. If you're catching my drift. If this isn't too, like, high in the sky, cloudy smoker Zaza type beat, you know?
Like, they all seem to have the warlord personalities, okay? Like, they all seem to be, like, the way, like, I can understand, like, that's the way Mihawk acted when he was a little kid. Like, he was trapped in that soap bubble, in the sea prism bubble, and then...
Yeah, if Mihawk was just a haughty bitch, bro.
I can't believe they trapped us in something ridiculous, like a silly bubble. You know, like, I can see... Yeah,
shaking my head, the mere fact they thought it was a good idea to create a Dofi surf is one of the most idiotic things they ever done. Well, remember, it's no they, it's Vegapunk. He did it on purpose. He knows that he's creating eventual enemies for the world government, right? The Seraphim are not going to be under the world government's thumb forever, right? Those are probably going to be like the final category of people that Luffy frees amongst also like the Gorosei and the Celestial Dragons and blah 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 blah, you know. But yeah, I definitely think it was purposefully done as like a, okay, you don't know what you're asking me for, actually, like a poisoned apple kind of thing, you know, but one that doesn't kick in until a long time down the road, you know.
You know, Mihawk acting like that back in the day. You know, Jinbei's there just very stoic, and he's just not saying anything. You know, S-Shark, and then S-Bear's kind of doing the same thing. I can kind of get it, right?
True.
So, yeah, I don't really know. I don't really understand where to go from here. That's the point. It's just like, okay, this probably connects back to the Ancient Kingdom and the One Piece and what the whole nature of the world is. Like, I feel like this is a big one. Okay, this is a big kind of underlying thing that Oda's throwing out there.
Yes.
Like, hey.
This is one of the core themes. One of the core themes of the story. I inherited will. What are instincts? Oh, it's inherited will. Oh, okay. It's pretty clear to me, you know, like the whole encapsulation and passing on of your will, carried through the generations, passed down from one to the other, often seemingly at this point in time paternally to paternally, Y chromosome to Y chromosome, whereas the females seem to be inheriting female wills as well. I mean, it's just like pretty. I mean, like it's very clearly laid out, right? The just think about DNA as an encapsulation of everything that all of your ancestors have gone through, passed down to you, that you get to mix and match pieces from to create yourself over the course of your life with. That's like what the fundamental power system of One Piece is. That's what Haki is. And then the full culmination of that is like probably like super powerful conquerors, Haki, being able to just like permanently change yourself in the ways that you need to, want to, towards what you want to, and then that just gets like forever passed on, right? Like, depends on how you want to think about it, but you can kind of say that like all the races could have come from humans, right? Who like ate a devil fruit and passed it on, or like evolved themselves to be giant. Or you can go about it the other way, where like all of those other races have come to the Blue Sea world and are like mixing down and combining themselves with the Blue Seers to culminate in this massive freedom of your body to be able to become whatever you want it to be, you know. It's very interesting. Then he added 2 more to that, S-Bat and S-Croc. Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, are you kidding me? The devious trio? Like, the 3 smartest consistently demonstrated people. Well, okay, I don't want to say smartest, because Gecko's kind of an asshat, but he also, but he's really smart, okay? Tactically, really great at everything. He wasn't an incredibly big powerhouse. So, yeah, I mean, the devious trio is for sure crafted to be a thorn in the side. Hey, do you know who Lucifer is? Oh, Lucifer Morningstar was God's right-hand angel and the most beautiful of them all. Oh, but he turned into what? Oh, the devil. Okay.
Pay attention to Vegapunk's research. Pay attention to the soul. Pay attention to the lineage factor. And
yes.
What carries over in the lineage factor and what doesn't carry over.
It all carries over.
The green blood is made from the DNA, from the blood of devil fruit users.
Yes.
So, like, Senor Pink had his blood extracted, turned into green blood, and then given to S. Shark.
Yes.
So, yeah, you gotta wonder, like, does S. Shark have a little bit of Senor Pink's personality in him now?
Yes.
If S. Shark sees a landslide about to crush a small baby, immediately S. Shark
yes.
is like, no, not again!
Yes.
You know, the guy that goes and protects, people,
Yes.
Protects people.
I'm down it. I'm down with it.
Gotta protect the peoples, guys. And it's like, okay. So, I don't know what the limit here is. I'm assuming, okay, obviously
no, that was great.
Have more, like, warlord DNA than Lunarian DNA or the green blood, gives them.
Yes.
Because if you think about it, S. Shark has King's DNA in him, Jinbei's DNA in him.
Yes.
Senor Pink's DNA in him.
Yes.
It's this weird cocktail of various DNA and lineage factor.
Which is why they're going to have their own fundamental personalities and things that they're going to accomplish, and why Luffy is going to eventually free them by bringing down the world government, right? Like, yeah, they're going to be the final group of people that were that Luffy is going to liberate.
And it's Jinbei's that ends up being prominent. So it might be Jinbei's DNA like 70%, King's DNA 20%, and then 10% to account for Senor Pink in the group.
So I want to hit on this. The likelihood that they just have it all crammed into them, and then what Vegapunk did was choose the things that were expressed and control for those outcomes is way more likely than him having been able to perfectly like snip together all of their things in the way that they would reproduce, right? Like, again, there's the whole genome factor, and then there's the side of it that's expressed. And people want to take this and say that the side of it that's expressed is all of this and is the whole genome. But what probably happened is that you have a Lunarian, right? So you have this whole genome encapsulated here. And then you have a Fishman, so you have this whole genome encapsulated here. And then you have Senor Pink, and you have to try to pull his, well, you don't even have to really worry about that. His lineage factor is that of a something human, right? That's what the naming process is for the devil fruits, turning you into that type of creature. By the way, all Paramecias are Hito Nomis. Like it, wait, what are they? Oh, he's a rubber man. Oh, I got you. Okay, it's a conceptual fuse. Like all paramecias are Hitos. I don't know why people haven't thought about this. Like that's what it is. Buggy is a chop man. He's a split man. He's a what? He's a cut man. I mean, the confines of not changing your body, but changing your body and fundamentally changing your lineage factor makes you a new creature, right? So they are zoans. All paramecia are zoans. They're just all hetozoans, if you catch my drift. If that makes sense, right? So you have the senior pink lineage factor and all of that. So that's just hetozone, okay? And then you have fishman. That's pretty easy. I mean, that's basically also just like human animal hybrid. Okay, so those go together pretty easily. You just right, and then the lunarian factor. Okay, are they really a fundamentally different race? Maybe. I mean, who knows? But like, you just smush it all together, and you don't really have to worry about it because you can choose which ones get expressed, and you do that via gene editing, all of these other things. You don't have to worry about like perfectly crafting the genome.
Green blood, so Jinbei's is the dominant one, so that's why S Shark looks like Jinbei and knows Fishman karate and has all of his DNA and stuff like that. Who knows though? He might exhibit traits from Senor Pink.
Nobles and Goa sucked as well for science. True facts. The 9 realms. What about the 9 realms? Do you think the Seraphim inherited the warlord's trauma from like their childhood? Yes, fully. I think the Seraphim are going to be they're going to have the fundamental instincts of all of the warlords. And what I mean by that is literally like their ingrained traumas and practices and beliefs and worldviews and things like that are going to come out as like minor expressions of personality, you know, as we're seeing already with just the way that they talk. But for sure, yes, I see all of them having carried over some of those subconscious trauma markings that would have impacted their lineage factor, as it were, because of emotional changes and methylation of the DNA. Nasty, I see you. I see you know about the 9 realms. That's goofy. If we're going along the trail of Luffy's fruit, making him a cartoon, perhaps paramecia fruits exist because of the power-ups and other shonen series and cartoons. Luffy's fruit does not make him a cartoon. Luffy's fruit turns him into a sun god. If we're going along the... Yeah. So, for example, the Dice fruit is an actualization of all kids who wish to be swordsmen like the Gintoki or Kenshin. I mean, that could be, but I don't agree with that. With that premise. I think he's gonna want to make it paramecia equals superhuman, I believe. Yeah, I mean, it's basically like a human with a quirk, right? It's MHA. It's a Hitozone, but you're just like, you know, you're a chop man god type thing, you know, because if you awaken it it's gonna have some sort of power, and it's pretty powerful and almost near godlike in comparison to a normal human, you know. It's pretty crazy. So that's kind of how I conceive of things, anyways. But Luffy's fruit doesn't make him into a cartoon. His fundamental abilities are still rubber and stretching things. Everybody wants to do this whole like Toon Force thing and whatnot, and sure, that's what it looks like and comes out as because it's fun, and that's how like Oda imagines it and wants to convey it to us. But his fundamental ability is still to stretch reality, whether it be your conceptions, your perception, himself, his body, his abilities, or what have you. It still technically falls under the concept of rubber. And that's an important thing to focus on, because too many people want to retcon and sort of like say that Oda did a retcon with the Gear 5 thing, but that's not even close to true.
Mihawk might exhibit traits from Mr. One, Daz Bones.
Yes.
Maybe, who knows?
Yes.
I don't know. So that's the thing with this video. I really don't have any answers for this one. It is just something I have noticed through,
I feel like you do have the answers because you're thinking about it and you're saying the right things. So, like, you have the answers. Yes.
Egghead, and I'm like, I need to make a video about this and talk about it.
Yeah, good job.
I'm not really sure if I'm, like, grasping at straws or what I'm doing here, but...
No, this is fantastic, man.
So there you go. You can, theory craft away. Let me know what you think.
Yeah, I told you what I think all throughout the video. 23 minutes in. This is a wonderful thing. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the things that you said were right. Some of the conceptions and ways that you understand things don't necessarily line up with how the real world works, but we're not talking about the real world for the most part, so it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? And in terms of internal workings of the OP world, your guess is as good as mine, and that's why I'm agreeing with you, because most of it's pretty good.
Oftentimes, whenever I make a video where I'll be like, hey guys, I have no idea what's going on, I'll read the comments, and then somebody will word it perfectly, and that'll be like the missing puzzle piece, like, oh there you go, that
Yes, that's why I love talking about One Piece, bro. It's because everybody else has these different ways and different ways that they've made these connections, and they string together their understandings, and if you follow it and believe and try to understand them, then your conception of the series grows fundamentally deeper.
Well, anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. This will be Tekking signing out. But first, we have some Xenomorph facts.
Some facts.
This part's so scary.
Hit us with it. Bing. Hit us. He's gonna do it. Ooh, Xenomorph? Oh, Xenomorph facts. I did not catch the facts that we were about to do.
So Xenomorph facts, let's talk about their heads, okay?
Yeah, their heads. Them big old boys.
I mean, I'm pretty sure if you show anybody a picture of a Xenomorph head, like even the general shape with the mouth, especially with the
they're gonna shit themselves.
People will recognize.
The races in One Piece came from the other moons or something similar, mimicking the 9 realms of the world tree. I agree. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. There's 2 ways that I think about it, and one of them is that either humans, and then they ate devil fruits, and then that's how the other races were created, or other races came in, and the fusion of all things and sort of the merger of their cultures and understandings and technologies and abilities gave rise to devil fruits. Good old H.R. Geiger, the inspiration Ridley Scott got for the entire Aliens. The animations, stretch reality of the character model. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oda started with the end of the story. Dex did a whole good video recently. Yeah, I watched it. It was a super good video. Edited great, done very well. What I will say is most storytellers have the ending of their story in mind if they're going to tell it. Not always, right? There's like discovery writing and all kinds of stuff like that, but generally you have some sort of an inkling of how it goes. And Oda has had like the ending of One Piece planned out for a long time, probably.
That is like, that's a freaking Xenomorph. That's from Alien, right? Okay. So a couple of things about their head. They don't seem to have eyes, or
nope.
Do they? So this is the thing where a lot of people think that, like, okay,
I don't think they have eyes.
Shell of like, keratin or whatever. That's covering them.
I feel like Earth was a beacon, kinda like a satellite for the celestial from space to come and live in harmony in the ancient kingdom. It could have been like that, yeah. I think probably the ancient kingdom is what arose from all of the races trying to interact with one another and establish like peaceful relations, right? And that the world government is probably the human affect of like, no, this is our land, I'm going to rule it and you guys suck, kind of thing.
The entire head. So some people have thought, well, maybe their eyes are behind that shell. So one
Could be.
idea is
They
that
could have
because
heat-sensing organs.
Xenomorphs are like the perfectly evolved alien predator, all right, to like just destroy and rip apart anything in front of them. Even the predator aliens, because alien versus
Predator
predator.
aliens.
Right, okay. So anyway, because of that, evolution takes its course with them, and it's
Yeah.
like, hey, the eyes are like some glaring weak points, especially on
Super
like,
weak.
humans and males,
Super,
right?
super weak
You
point.
stab somebody
They're
in
so
the eye,
fleshy.
you know, they're blinded in that eye, and also the eye doesn't just heal back like normal. I mean, it could
It
take
also
a little bit
is
of
like
damage,
literally
but
a straight
you
shot
stab
to your
someone's eye
brain.
out, it's gone for good. By the way, it's a small tangent, but I gotta tell this story really quick. So I DM a game. I DM a 5e game with my friends. And this
Damn,
past
that bitch
session,
must be so fun.
my one friend, she's a fighter. She's got a javelin, right? And they're fighting these giant birds, okay? And so she throws a javelin at the bird. She crits. I have a thing with like the permanent injury table that we do. And so like, ooh, I get to roll on the permanent injury table. So
That's
I roll,
so fun.
and it loses an eye.
I
So
love
she
when
throws a
people love to
javelin,
do
stabs this
like
giant
long
bird in the
standing
eye,
and
and it
stuff
goes
like
blind
that.
in one eye. And I'm like, oh, that was good. Well, she's a fighter. She's got an extra attack.
Yeah, my hair is
Takes another
fucked.
javelin. She throws it. She crits again. And I'm like, all right, I'm not even rolling on the injury table. It loses the other eye. You've stabbed both of this.
God damn. Took out both of its eyes, bro.
That was a good battle. But anyway, back to the xenomorphs. Okay. So
Back to
they
the
got their
xenomorphs.
eyes, right, covered by like this bony keratin like layer or shell. So they can see, it's kind of like a one-way mirror, so they can see through it, but you can't see the eyes, you know, into it. So it might be something like that.
Could be.
Or
it could be like
that entire layer
heat-sensing pits.
on that, like the reflective carapace on the head is the eye. So they
Which
can
would
kinda see
be why
everywhere.
the
It's
predators
kinda,
have
really good, like,
thermal
almost 360
camouflaging.
degree perfect Byakugan vision, where they could just like see around them at all times. Okay?
Jesus, like blind
Then
sense.
they got their tiny little mouth, and this tiny little mouth will come out and like sometimes pierce right through somebody's skull.
Yeah, the
So, like, the tiny
what are they
mouth comes
called?
out, pierces
Prehensile
somebody's
jaws?
back to the
No.
skull, and it can cut through armor and
I can't
helmets and
remember.
things like that. So people have thrown out the idea the reason that the xenomorph head is so like large and like elongated is because it's just full of muscles that
Yeah.
push that little mouth out like a piston. And
Yeah. Yep.
with a
I have
crazy
heard
amount
those.
of, like,
Heard those
concussive
theories.
piercing force to go through steel and walls and just come right back out. and
How are
come
you
right back
doing
into you.
today,
Totally.
boys?
All right, so
Everybody doing good?
Very fascinating. Very fascinating
The
animals.
xenomorph
Okay,
facts
the
scare ya.
Thanks for watching, everybody. This will be Tech Geek signing out.
Yeah. Thank you for letting me watch Ticking. Everybody, go follow Ticking. Like his video. Share that. Share it.
Alternatively, you could just become an AI expert.
Lovely dovely.
Yourself. Begin by learning
Oh
acting.
my god. Beautiful, beautiful video. Liked. 10 out of 10. My newest theory is that the ancient kingdom is called Shinokuni, Land of the Dead, like Caesar's gas weapon explains Luffy's crew having demonic epithets and Luffy saving his life for others. It could be. It could be. But the speculation on the name of the ancient kingdom is tough because that's one of those ones that's like being a saved mystery. You know? Yeah. Alright, well that was a very, very good video. I loved it. It tackled a lot of great ideas. Yeah, the lineage factor I think is impacted by large-scale emotional changes and or characterial changes throughout your life, and that is carried through to the clones and things like that. But there's a fundamental reason why devil fruits impact your lineage factor. And I think it's probably because your lineage factor, your DNA, is in some way tied to your soul, to your body, to your soul, to your being, to your very essence. But also Land of the Dead, as in souls who resonated through music and whose kingdom was ironically destroyed because of another Shinokuni type weapon. Interesting. I mean, that's fun. The resonating through music is pretty dope, lineage factors, souls. Yeah, the concept of the soul being tied to your genetics and body and like nature is pretty cool. I would say that I believe that the lineage factor acts probably somewhat similar to Brandon Sanderson's spirit web in the Cosmere in his fictional works. He's one of my favorite current authors, and he has this thing called a spirit web for his characters, where they have their soul, and then they have this web of connections to the Cosmere and the world and universe, each other, friends, themselves, abilities, things like that. And that is like your internal nature, and that can be changed and manipulated and stuff like that. But I think the lineage factor is probably going to be somewhere similar, or not something similar to that, along those lines. Yeah, the video was really good. Watched it myself the other day. Yeah, it was a very, very good video. And at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and do. Dang, what else did I say I was planning on doing? Alright, you guys. I think actually what we're gonna go ahead and do is call it there. I can't go for very much longer. A couple of plans had to change on the fly. I thank you guys for coming along and watching that video and talking about these things with me. I very much enjoy talking about science and its interplays with reality as well as fiction and things like that. I've heard great things about Brandon Sanderson. Need to peep some of his work. Yeah, I would highly recommend the Stormlight Archive. That's his sort of epic fantasy series. It's pretty grim at first. It's a little hard to get through. Large world building, beautiful character work. And then some of his other series like Mistborn, Mistborn Era 2 was fantastic. I have 3 of his secret novels up on my shelf right now, and those are beautiful things. I would highly recommend any and all of his work. The Cosmere is one of my favorite fantastical creations right now in modern fantasy. Bros, don't you think it was a middleman that was playing both sides? Emu and the Joy Boy at that time, basically like a two-faced person that wants to see both sides go at it. Let me run back to your other comment. I feel like Earth was a beacon, kind of like a satellite for the celestial from space to come and live in harmony in the ancient kingdom. Bros, don't you think it was a middleman that was playing both sides? Emu and the Joy Boy at that time. Basically like a two-faced person that wants to see both sides go at it. Oh, you mean like like the ancient kingdom was, like their downfall was brought about by a third party that masterminded the fight between Joy Boy and Emu? It could be. I mean, that's possible, but I think I would like that less than potentially where it's heading, which would be like, Emu was like a mastermind of a huge plan that brought about the downfall of this crazy thing. We had an excellent discussions, boys. No problem, my guy. Yeah. Thank all of you for coming by. I really appreciated all of the theories, all of the talking, and yeah, I appreciate it. You guys obviously go follow the other creators that are in the description. Subscribe, like, share the video. I will probably turn this into a VOD here in a little bit, and then maybe tomorrow I'm going to be getting around to doing some of that Norse-Piece talk that I was planning on doing today, but I ran out of time for. I love all of you. Thank you for coming through. Welcome to the Tosmorn's Fall of Flames. Signing off.